right, this is 1-2 algebraic expressions. So we looked at numerical expressions last week. So let's take a look at algebraic expressions. So I can write and evaluate algebraic expressions. This is very similar to what we were doing with numerical expressions. So today's vocabulary, a variable is a letter used to represent an unspecified number or value. So for instance, our most popular variable is x. Algebraic expression, a letter is used to represent an unspecified number or value. So we're just going to use a variable. A term is a number, a variable, or a product or quotient of a number and variable. So for instance, if we have 2x plus 3, this has two terms in it. This is 1 and this is 2. And you may say, well, this has two numbers in it. Yes, but they're being multiplied or divided, so it's just one term. So a variable term contains a variable. So a variable term is this x right here. So this is a variable term. And a constant term is a term that does not contain a variable. So the green highlighting is a constant term, no variable. So we're going to be asked to define a variable. So that means we're going to choose a variable to represent an unknown. So if we're talking about children versus adults, so we would say children, we could represent this by C. Adults, we could represent by A. So that's all that means, is we're defining it ourselves. So interpreting an expression, so we kind of went over this the other day. Remember, addition, more than, plus, sum, increased by, added to. Subtraction is less than, subtracted from, difference, decrease, minus. Multiplication, product of, I've had a couple questions about that. So that's an important term and often tough to remember. So product is answer to a multiplication problem. And the other one that we might not be so familiar with is quotient, and that's division. So write a verbal expression for 5x to the third plus 2. So it's just kind of how I just read it. So I'm going to say 5 times x to the third power plus 2. So this is super easy because we're literally just writing what we would say for the most part. So write a verbal expression. Which verbal expression does not represent 1/3 m to the 5th plus 12? So this is one of those error test type questions where we have to look at everything and see if it works. So the first one says 12 more than the product of 1/3 and m to the 5th power. So if I were to read that, 12 more than the product of 1/3 and m to the 5th power. So is that the same? Yes. So B, 1/3 times m to the 5th power plus 12. Well, that is correct as well. 1/3 multiplied by m times 5 increased by 12. So are we multiplying this by 5? No. So this is our correct answer because that is the one that's wrong. And remember, we're looking for not. Write a verbal expression for a to the 4th plus 6b divided by 7. So super easy. I just read this, so I'm going to say this just the way I did. A to the 4th power plus 6 times 4b divided by 7. So write an algebraic expression. So now we have to go the other way. So it says 2 times the quantity. Remember we talked about quantity in class, that means that you're putting something together, of y plus 11. So quantity says to me, put it in parentheses. So I started here, and then it says 2 times that number. So that's what you get. N cubed increased by 5. Remember, the third power means cubed. So that's a math term. So n to the third plus 5. The product of p and 6. So important word again. Remember, product is multiplication. And I can just write that as 6p. So evaluate an algebraic expression. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take these numbers and replace the variables with those numbers, and then we're going to solve using order of operations. So the a, I'm going to take the a out and put the 2 in. So I have 2 squared. 3b, so 3 times 6 over here, minus a, which we already know is 2, plus 5, and then divided by c. So we need to do order of operations. Super important. So the first thing we're going to do is parentheses. And then I have to start over when I'm in the parentheses. So within the parentheses, I have to do additional parentheses and then exponents. So there's no exponents in the parentheses. Then I go to multiplication and division. So I see one number here multiplied. We're going to change colors for our steps. So I'm going to take this. 3 times 6 is 18. And I'm going to bring everything else down. So now I have to do the operation in the parentheses. So I'm just going to take 18 minus 2, which is 16. 16 plus 5, which is 21. So this parenthesis equals 21. I have 2 squared divided by 4. So now I do the exponents, which is 4. 2 squared is 4. And now I'm going to multiply and divide from left to right. I apologize, I didn't change the color. So I'm going to do 21 times 4, which is 84, divided by 4. Make sure I bring everything else down, which equals, oops, not the color I wanted, 21. So this equals 21. So we're going to do the same thing here. I am literally just going to substitute these numbers for the variable and then solve. So I have 3 times x is 4, so 4 squared, plus 2 times 5 plus 3 to the third. So I'm going to do what's in the parentheses, and I'm going to start with exponents. Oops. So I did what you guys commonly do, and I did 3 to the third was 9, which it's not. It's 27. So I have 2 to the fifth. That's still in my parentheses. Bring everything else down. Now I still have to do multiplication first in the parentheses. And then the final operation in the parentheses here is addition, so we just go ahead and do that. 10 plus 27 is 37. So now I start over with order of operations because I'm outside of the parentheses. So I have to do this 4 squared, which is 16. And then I'm going to have to go up here. I'm sorry. I hate switching lanes like that, but I wrote too big. So now I just do the multiplication. So 3 times 16 is 48. And then I add 37. So 48 plus 37 is 85. And we are done. So assignments for tonight. Notes. So those are 2 points. Remember, have them out on your desk at the beginning of class on Monday. WSQ, that's 2 points. Submit electronically before class. Make sure you do the Google form or the Flipgrid. So one or the other, both are acceptable. Have a great weekend.